So we're here to talk through this hard Tapa puzzle by Tapio Saarinen. It's one that has just layer after layer of aha moments, that it has a very tight solving path, but walking along the steps of that path is rather enjoyable as you find the next step after next step by slowly looking around the grid. The right way to start is certainly to be aware of the Tapa clue inventory that you can have as a constructor, as a solver. In this case, you can view this kind of like a partially constructed puzzle. You're just finishing the constructor's work of putting the clues into the grid. But you have 8 singletons, which range from 1 to 8. You have these doubles. You have these 3 number clues and this 4 number clue. And critically, the clues available to you in a corner cell, where there are 3 unused cells potentially to use to shade, versus a side cell which has 5, versus an internal cell which has as many as 8, is really what separates the puzzle out. That in the corners are just these 4 options, 1, 2, and 3, as well as 1, 1. On the side cells you can get 2 more options, sort of going from 3 cells to 5. So for singletons, 4 and 5 become valid, as well as 1, 2, 1, 3, and 2, 2. And then everything right now I haven't marked in any way can potentially be for an internal clue, but none of these are relevant for the external clues. And so the quote simple unquote break-in of the puzzle is to at least see that 4 corner cells all contain clues. We said that there are exactly 4 unique clues that can be used in corner cells, and so these, while we don't know where they go, as to say this could be a 1, 2, or 3, this could be a 1, 2, or 3, this could be a 1, 2, 3, or 1, 1, and this could be a 1, 2, 3, or 1, 1. While we don't know where those 4 clues are spent, they can't exist anywhere else in the grid except in the corners. And so the break-in for the puzzle starts right up here. It's a side cell. It needs to have a single number for it. 1, 2, and 3 are spent. This clue blocks it from being a 5. The only option for it is to be a 4. That's very quickly shaded. The asterisk that's to the left of this cell right now has 2 cells shaded. That could grow out to be, or if we use neither of these cells, it could be a 2, 3, or 4. But 2, 3, and 4 have been used. This needs to become a 2 number clue. The only one it can become is 1, 2. So we'll mark that in. And again, if you ever fail to do some of this bookkeeping, your work just gets much harder here. The corner clue up here is now limited to just being a 2 or 3. And so the next deduction that really needs to be done in the grid is to see that the only place remaining for this 1, 1 option, the only corner cell that can have a 2-digit clue, is the one over here. That gives us these cells. Looking at the clues right nearby will get us the next step. So this asterisk can't fail to include this cell because a 2 or a 3 over here is already spent. Similarly, after we figure out it has to include this cell to have a 1 to the left, it can't not include this one because the 1, 2 is spent. This is a 1, 3 very cleanly. That gets us to here. There are a few stress points for the next steps of the puzzle. These 2 asterisk clues on the sides are rather limited right now. It looks like the whole universe of what they can be is 5, 2, 2, and potentially 1, 1, 1. I actually failed to circle this at the start, so that was a mistake of mine, but these 3 options can work for the side. All of them actually have the cells along the edge shaded, so we might as well put that in. But one of the things that is also besides these points, and you may try to think about, for instance, connectivity up here of the top, either along this end or down here. Sort of, there's a reason this can't be a 1, 1, 1. But an easier, more critical next step to see is we actually also still have 2 single-digit clues in the grid. Those are actually pretty helpful to try to fill out. Notice those can be a 5, 6, 7, or 8, but they can't be any smaller. So this is a 5 plus. This is a 5 plus. If it's a 5 plus, it can't use this cell. This cell would instantly cancel out. Once that's not used, a 5 plus must include these 3 shaded cells. And there's a similar step here. One or both of these cells is not shaded, but at most one. So we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A 5 plus clue will always shade those. So that makes this potentially a 2, 2, or a 5. We can include this right now. What's really going to be valuable, having set this as a 2, 2, or 5, is now to think back about this 1, 1, 1 potential here and see if we can eliminate that from happening. And the reason I'd have you think to worry about this sort of scenario is exactly that. There aren't a lot of 3-cell clues, and there's only one clue that can actually pass along this way. The one that passes along that way requires both of the opposite corners to also be shaded. And so once this is marked as unused and the Tapa has to come this way, you can actually get 3 digits around those clues. So just to have the Tapa connected, this cell has to be connected. Once this cell is connected, the 1, 1, 1 option goes away, and so it is a 2, 2, or a 5. And we have something like the pairs you'll find in Sudoku puzzles. We now have 2 digits that will be different, 2 clues that will be different. We've actually spent both of them, so it eliminates them from other entries. We've eliminated the 5, so this becomes a 6 plus. This becomes a 6 plus. And so this is the next layer of this puzzle to unravel, is we have a larger constraint around the single question mark clues. And once it becomes a 6 plus, we gain 2 more necessary shaded cells. In each case, it's the one's just around what I was looking at. That gives us a little more connectivity-wise over here. There's an interesting set of deductions to now do in this space that we've made it impossible, knowing that you can't ever have 4 connected cells in a 3-digit clue. That can't be used. We still need, though, to get 3 clue groups up here, and so for instance, let's say we shaded this cell. What we really can say is we need to have one of these 2 cells shaded to get 3 groups. If we shaded this cell, we'd force this shaded cell to be in a singleton. So there's a necessary shade of at least this leftmost cell, and there is a wall somewhere between these 2. It could be both aren't used, it could be just one of these is shaded, but they can't both be shaded. And so for Tapa connectivity, this needs to come around to the left like this. We identify cleanly the 2. So this is a 1 or 3. This is a 1 or 3. This comes down, takes another cell. Taking another cell now means this is exactly the 5. This is the 2, 2. We can mark those as used. Now we have Tapa constraints over here. This has to connect back to the grid. There's a choke point cell, which is the only cell between this Tapa part and the rest of the grid. This is used. There are 2 competing clues here. They're going to help us eliminate options. The first thing to see is if this is the 1, it already has its shaded cell filled, which means this wraps like this. But again, with a 3-digit clue here, 1, 1, 3, we spent 3. Both of these need to be shaded. Just not possible. Your intuition or logic should tell you that around such a constrained cell as this, which will require 3 clue groups, once this cell is shaded, we can't really skirt this corner tight. We need to include these cells. Give it some breathing room. That makes this a 1 down here. And we've assigned all the small clues. There's a neat little channel effect that's going to go on between this group and this group, which is to say that either both of these cells are shaded or both of these cells are shaded. There's no way, once we shade one, we have to mark off the other for a 2 by 2 group. There's no way else for these to go. So this is going to be getting either a 1 or a 3 from the right side, but the 2 cells left are going to be marked off. To get 2 other clue groups here, they'd have to start here and here with marks there. So this is a 1, 1, 1 if both of these aren't used, or this is a 1, 1, 3 if both of these are used. But while we don't know which is true yet, it's certainly the case that these 2 shaded and 2 unshaded cells can be marked. That's a harder deduction to get at, but a really fun one once you see it. This gets you some of the connectivity from there. If this is going to get either a 1 or a 2 from the left, and as we talked about, this will either be all shaded or all empty. This is getting a 1 or 3 from the right. One of the pairs, 1 with 1, no good. 2 with 1, no good. 2 with 1, 1 with 3, no good. And 2 with 3, that actually exists. There's only one option left given these 3 unusable cells for this clue, which is the 2, 3. So all the clues are working together hand in hand here to get us this. This is the 1, 1, 3. That makes it impossible to use this cell, but this is a 1, 1, 2 or 1, 2, 2. We don't know which yet. For connectivity, the Tapa is going to need to come down this way. That makes this cleanly a 6. This now is a 7 plus, but the plus you can quickly discard. One of these is unshaded, so it's exactly 7. And the unused cell is already known as one of these 2, so we can shade the remaining one. Just looking in the grid, none of these cells can be the 8, so the 8 clue is not used in this puzzle. There are actually 2 of these sets of clues that aren't used in the puzzle. We could also show at this time the 1, 1, 1, 1 isn't used in the puzzle. It can't be here, and nothing else would take those clues. The next place to at least identify or assign a clue, we may not know exactly how to use it, I think is actually 2 of these spots. Let's start here. This has 2 cells left to determine and could potentially come, there may be 4 choices for each of these. If we think unshaded, shaded, unshaded, shaded, there are 4 choices for them. Right now, with them all unused, it's a 1, 1, 3, that's been spent. With all of them shaded, it's a 7, that's been spent. This will become a 1, 5, but I don't know how yet. One of these, but not both of these, will become shaded. That's going to be a critical thing to know as we move forward. This other spot here that looks pretty good to consider. So right now it's a 2, 2. If we shaded this cell here, that would force us to be unshaded, become a 2, 3. Just above it's already a 2, 3, so that's no good. Just to the right of it's another 2, 2, so it's staying as a 2, 2 is no good. So we need to shade something. We shade that one. We get a 1, 2, 2 in the grid. That makes this a 1, 1, 2. We're now in this state. Here is where, having identified this as a 1, 5, gives us the next step. Sort of hard to use some of the other clues right now at the moment, maybe. This being a 1, 5 means that a scenario where we mark this as unused, which requires these to connect, again, this is saying there are exactly 2 digits here, and we already know these shaded cells. This scenario can't work because we'd have 2 1, 5s. This cell is shaded. That's unshaded. This cell is shaded. Get to there. So we spent the 1, 5. We have 4 clues that are left that can be fit into the grid. This can't be a 3-digit clue like this, so this is going to be a 2-digit clue, a 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. So we have a question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Those are these 3 in some scenario. We'll figure out which in a second. But what I will say is sort of a way to make progress now is to know that this clue has just one option left to it, which is the 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1 certainly can't shade that cell, no way out. Can't shade this cell, no way out. because this is a 1 and this is a 1, 1, 1, this cell also has no way out. So we have reduced ourselves to one configuration of shaded cells around that clue. And we can now finish out what the corner 1 looks like. That's this. Now we have to work through these cells and the middle here, and the first place, I guess, to start is to see that this cell can't be shaded. That would instantly cancel those cells to the left and right, and the top Tapa segment can't go anywhere. So that's no good. Can this cell be a 3, 3? That would be the forced double vertical. What is this one over here? It's got to be a 1, 5. That's no go. So this cell includes a 4. The first step we can shade here. What we can further say is that because the remaining clues get no larger than a 4, one of these two cells will be unused to allow for a proper clue here, that if both of them were shaded we'd make a 5. That's no good. One of these clues being unused means that the 4 will look like this. And one of these unused actually means a 2, 4 is impossible. So a 2, 4 with a cell already cleared would be either this or this. That's just not working right now. So the 1, 4 is right up here. We can't do a lot extra with that, it looks like right now, but we can now figure out the sort of 2, 4, 3, 3 sort of option over there. Having filled that cell in, canceling this cell, the bottom Tapa connectivity has to come up here. So this is, it can no longer be the 3, 3. It can contain a 4. The 1, 4 is spent. This is 2, 4. Only option left for it. Now we have all the clues assigned. This will be a lot faster to finish out. But an amazing amount of work to get to here. And again, what I appreciated most about this puzzle is it really uses every element of every possible set of clues throughout the solve, like it was a kind of a master art of construction to work through corners to side cells to internal cells, ways that multi-digit cells work together, all of this. Like I don't know how far you got along the puzzle on this particular logical path, but I'm rather certain this is the only way through this puzzle. So I'm assuming I captured some of your experience and maybe where you got stuck. I got you over that hurdle. Thanks to Tapio for sharing this puzzle, and we'll see you again soon.